mistake. But for a while I thought that I wouldn't break. I need something else to clear my head, someone to tell me how to live instead. Just open your eyes and take my advice. Stop rolling the dice and just compromise. It's the chance of your life. Okay, try to be brave. You have so much to save. Take control of your own life. Right now, every mistake makes you feel like a fake. Take control of your own life. Without any thought, I keep moving on. I don't even care if my soul is gone. So many words that I should have said. Not concerned about how to live instead. Just open your eyes and take my advice. Stop rolling the dice and just compromise. It's the chance of your life. Okay, try to be brave. You have so much to save. Take control of your own life. Right now, every mistake makes you feel like a fake. Take control of your own life. Nothing in life is good. Tired of
Hey, how's it going, everybody? How are we doing? Happy Wednesday here. Good to see everybody in here. It's like we got about 9 people watching right now, and I'm sure that will go up as we go. Hey there, Christian, Media Network, Maxime. Anything good going in your guys' neighborhoods? Let's see here. Just making sure that I have everything good to go here. Took me a little bit of time to set up some of this stuff, but yeah, I repositioned the microphone, so hopefully you guys are hearing me a little bit better than last time. Got it a little bit closer to me, so let's see here. So we already have some questions going in. So basically, the plan is for today that if any of you have LinkedIn's that you want reviewed, we can take a look at those. If you have questions that you want to ask, we can do those as well, kind of just like last time. Um, let's see, I'm probably going to butcher your name, but hello, Abhishek, is that right? From Australia, awesome. But yeah, if you guys have questions, if you want your LinkedIn profiles reviewed, we can do all that stuff. If you haven't seen the membership program that I have, I'll throw this up here on the screen. But I did start doing a membership program on YouTube. So if you want to check out that, there's different tiers. And basically, what I'm thinking is there's going to be a little bit more live streaming stuff that goes to that, and some exclusive content and special perks depending on which membership level you were to sign up for. But it's kind of just another way to give back some value in kind of a different format. So make sure that you check that out. Of course, I'll say it right now. Make sure that you subscribe, hit the bell icon, all that stuff, so that you see all the new videos that are coming out. A lot of good content that's coming out that I have planned. A lot of different stuff on tools. If you guys saw the recent post that I did, a recent poll, just asking um, what kind of struggles or what kind of things are impacting you guys the most, and so still receiving votes on that. And then I'll also have another poll, kind of just asking what time works good for everybody for live streaming. A couple different options in there. Again, especially with the members program, it's going to kind of be a combination of both. Still want to do live streams for just everybody, and then the membership part is kind of just an extra live stream kind of format. So let's see here. So let's go ahead and hit this first question here. Throw that up there. So I'm serious about becoming a pen tester. Which certifications and other resources do you recommend? So I do have a video on top certifications to get for penetration testing, and I would definitely check that out. It's on my channel, but um, it really kind of depends. So penetration testing isn't an entry level path for most people in cybersecurity. Usually, it's something that you've been doing something in IT or in security for a while, and then you kind of transition over. So, for instance, there's a lot of network administrators, system administrators that go into that because they have the background of those different technologies. But so you'll want to have that foundational level. So things like Network Plus, Security Plus, those kind of things. And then as far as penetration testing specific certifications, I mean, there's a whole bunch out there, but the eLearn security ones are very good. So the ECPPT and the from offensive security, the OSCP, those are kind of like the major players as far as the certifications. You can get something like the GPen from GIAC, but if you can't get the official SANS training, it doesn't make as much sense because that's where you get all the official courseware and you'll get like 5 or 6 big books of information. But the OSCP and the ECPBT are probably going to be what a lot of people get. And then as far as resources, actually, let me do this here. Let's see. I have some resources that I can put in the chat here too. So I do have these on the Discord server as well. So if you're on the Discord server, awesome. If you haven't looked at it recently or you haven't been on there, I did some reshuffling as far as the channel format. So I did have a bunch of categories in there before, but now it's kind of more stripped down. So there's basically a channel for each certification vendor. Let's see here. Let me post these in the chat. So the hacker playbook, the one I just put in the chat, is really popular, as well as that web application hacker's handbook. So those 2 books are really popular. A lot of people have used those to kind of get their initial footing. But yeah, I mean, really look for the ECPBT and the OSCP. Those are going to be the big penetration testing ones. Let's see here. This one up here. All right, so definitely missed a few certifications. I started my journey. Love the knowledge bombs you throw for interview tips. Really gives me a broad idea. Yeah, I mean, interviews are kind of a challenging thing to do, especially when you're early on, because you don't know exactly what's going to be asked. And depending on who's your interviewer, they could throw you curveballs in there that are either meant to trick you or just kind of just random questions. But the more interviews you go through, the better you get at it. And I know with the video that I made on interview questions, those were a lot of the questions that I've seen in interviews before or had asked to me. And honestly, once you get kind of that core set of questions, those are generally what a lot of people ask, because it feels like a lot of times what happens is people that are doing the interviewing, they will go and they'll research, they'll go to Google and they'll be like, hey, what are top questions for cybersecurity? Something like that. And then they'll ask those questions, because if you do that before your interview, you'll probably get some questions that are on there. And it also feels like, too, they do that originally and then they never update the set of questions. So it's just the same kind of questions. You go interview, all these different interviews with different people, and they'll be asking similar questions. So yeah, I know that video has helped out a bunch of people. I've seen a lot of good comments, a lot of good feedback from people that have had interviews and been asked a lot of those questions. So somebody the other day said that they got asked some of the questions, but just kind of rephrased on a few of them, basically the same question. So yeah, that video is definitely worth a watch if you haven't watched it. See here. Put this up there. Yeah, so try Hack Me, Hack the Box. Those are great resources for penetration testing. Now, those are relatively new. When I say relatively, I mean, within the last couple of years. I don't know exactly when they got started, but I know 5 years ago those did not exist. So before it was VulnHub was around for a while, so you could always download some of these different virtual machines and practice on those. But that's always kind of risky, honestly. I mean, you're downloading a system that could be malicious, and it's around penetration testing and all these different activities that could be seen as malicious if done maliciously. But yeah, try Hack Me and Hack the Box are awesome. Um, definitely, you should check those out if you haven't and you're interested in learning more about penetration testing. Try Hack Me is probably a little bit better if you don't have a lot of that background because there's more training that's available in it. But I know that Hack the Box has started to kind of amp up their training and make it not as much you're on your own because that's what Hack the Box has been. Just you're on your own and hack this box. So, but I would recommend try Hack Me first, personally. All right. So I missed doing GIAC when I started my journey. Now I'm 3 years formal experience with Security Plus, CEH, post-grad diploma in InfoSec, master's in CyberSec. What are your thoughts on GIAC? So I'm not sure if you can see it, but back here I have three GIAC certifications. I have the GSEC, the GCIH, and the GWAP. And I love GIAC certifications. They are amazing. As far as the training, there is so much just effort put into that training, and they update them frequently. They're done by people that are working in the field. So, you're getting real experiences. And especially when you do the SANS training, right? Because that's when you get all the official courseware materials. And all of mine, I went to in person, except for the GWAP. So the GCIH and the GSEC, I went to in person. The GWAP, I did it on the on demand, which is great too. And of course, a lot of it right now is on demand, it's online. But with the SANS training, especially, because that's where the real value is when you get the SANS training and you go in person, especially when you go in person, I should say, because there's a lot of networking opportunities and they have like networking events after, so at night, and net wars and all those kind of things. And it's not just the training that's beneficial, it's the networking stuff with it, right? Because you get to meet people from all over the country because people come from all over. Generally, a lot of the people are kind of from that geographic region, but not always. There's people that will travel just because a certain course is offered there, especially some of those courses that aren't offered as much. They'll be offered at a handful of events, so you have to go to a certain event for it. But you just get to meet a lot of people, and a lot of jobs come out of who you know. So if you know more people, you have a higher chance of finding a job. You have a bigger network, right? Let's see here. So if you haven't seen it, I do have all my courses on my website. So if you like all my training that I have on my YouTube page, kind of the big deal is I know YouTube, there's a lot of ads that get pushed out on the videos just because of how YouTube works. But I have all of those videos as well as a bunch of courses that I've made and will continue to make. Some I even have on like Udemy, but with my website, you can get them all on my website in one spot. You don't have to buy them individually or anything like that. Definitely check that out if you want to see more of my training. Let's see here. So let's flip that and let's pull up another question here. Throw that up there. All right, so neither of my two options for cybersecurity boot camps offer A plus. How important is this, and should I continue to self-study for A plus? So, all right, so I guess because you're asking that question, you probably don't have experience since you're asking about A plus. And with A plus, the A plus is very good for getting somebody a job, especially in a help desk, right? Getting that initial job. And with jobs in IT and cybersecurity and kind of the path, the evolution that you'll go through, getting that first job is extremely important because you have to start getting on that path and start moving down the line, right? As soon as you get into a role, you can continue to build your skills. You can go into a higher role and maybe even switch over to cybersecurity, depending on the role, depending on your skills that you have, your certifications, all that stuff. So if you're not in a help desk role, at least right now, so assuming you have no experience, no job, right? Then I would go for the A plus just so you can at least try to secure a job in a help desk. But if you've already got a help desk job, you're already working in IT, something like that, unless you have a very specific reason to get it, it's not really going to do much for you. So it really just depends on, on where you're at. But yeah, if you have nothing, and you're just trying to get a job first, A plus is fine. It will help you get into that first role. But then past that, it's not gonna, you're not gonna get much benefit out of it. In my cybersecurity jobs, I've never really needed any of that A plus knowledge. So that's kind of just what happens is it becomes not important to your role anymore. So, let's see here. Yeah, so Christian, if you put in your LinkedIn, uh, I'll pull it up here and review it. Just put it in the chat. It should let you do that. And Sean, you're welcome. No worries. Let's see here. So GIAC certs are expensive. Looking at the G-Strat in a few years though. Yeah. So what you can do for GIAC certifications, they're expensive, right? So it's for the course, it's like $7,000-8,000, somewhere in that ballpark. So if you have to travel, in normal times, then it's like 10 grand, right? But what you can do is look at the work study program that SANS has. So let's see here. Let me pull this up here. Put the link in there. So if you look at the SANS work study program, then basically what happens is you volunteer some time. So I'll explain what happens in the normal times, right? Because that's what I'm familiar with. I'm not sure how they're doing it right now, but normally what would happen is you go apply, and you would get an email saying you got accepted for course whatever. Let's say SEC 401, the GSEC course, right? So you got accepted for that, and you fill out the contract as like NDA basically, and then what happens is you have to pay. I think currently, let's see here. Currently, I guess it's $2,500. So it's gone up a little bit. But what happens is when you get accepted, you sign the NDA, you pay that $2,500, and then you get there at the event. It's like a day early, and or you have to be there for the full day before, because what happens is that day before there's some initial setup stuff, and so you go through and whatever they need help setting up. So you'll take the books, and every course will have to make sure they have enough books, go through and make sure there's no errors, that kind of stuff, and just kind of quality checking them. And then on the start, so the first day of the actual event, when all the participants are showing up, then you all help pass out books for the courses. And it could be the night before too. It just depends on how big the event is and things like that. But you pass out all the books to all the students. And then for your course, basically you do anything that the instructor might need. So if they need like batteries for a slide changing remote, or for their microphone, because a lot of these events they have microphones, the lapel microphones. You do all that kind of stuff. Give them the surveys, collect the surveys at the end, and take them to the administrators, all that kind of stuff, just to help out. But you get the course for way less. So, yeah, definitely not bad compared to $7,000-8,000 for the course. Um, so I would highly recommend that. I actually did that for the two courses that I went to in person. So the GSEC and the GCIH, did them for both, and it's a great experience too, because then you can talk to the instructor more, because you're going to be interacting with them a lot more. So, and then you get to meet all the other facilitators too. That's the work study title, basically. And so you get to meet them, you get to network even more, right? And so it's a great experience. I would highly recommend that. And it makes it so much more attainable for most people. So, here, okay. So I come from graphic design industry, changing career to cybersecurity, hold a certificate for in cybersec and security plus. So let's see, you're in Australia. So I'm not familiar with what certificate for. I get my Roman numerals messed up. Um, but I'm not sure exactly what that is, or like what that would be comparable to. Is that what is that, like a networking certification or something? Like what? But I mean, anyways, so it could vary a little bit between countries, right? Like in Australia, I'm not extremely familiar with it because I live in the U.S. But oh, you have your cert, and then advanced diploma, then bachelor. Okay, okay, so maybe like a high school diploma or something like that, maybe. Um, like a vocational kind of certification, something like that. But what I would do is, here, let me give you this link. Okay, yeah. So here, so let me put this in here. So I put the link to my newsletter in the chat, and what I would vocational degree, yeah, okay. So check out my newsletter, or my if you sign up for my newsletter, you get my ebook for free. And in my ebook, I give a roadmap of certifications and skills. And check that out, because that I give you kind of the steps of certifications in there to look for. Pretty much across the board, it's been the same. When I wrote it, I really tried to make it apply to everybody, because a lot of these certifications, I mean, especially the industry ones, they're gonna pretty much be the same across the board. Um, in the U.S., we have what's called the DoD 8570, or 8140 is the newer term, which some companies rely on. So there might be things like that, where it's basically a chart that has certifications on it that certain job levels would need to fulfill. But honestly, I mean, there's only so many certifications, especially ones that are broad. When you start getting into like the very niche ones, I mean, those are going to be very isolated cases when certain jobs are looking for them. So definitely check out the ebook. That will give you the path that you want to go. But yeah, I mean, that's a good start for sure. Security plus. You'll probably, not knowing too much more, you'll probably want to build out your networking knowledge and your system knowledge, because um, depending on what you have already as far as just your awareness of how things work, um, that will that will help you kind of fill the gaps and build out your foundational knowledge. Let's see here. Um, Christian, I do not see your LinkedIn here. Let's see. Did you put it as a comment or did you put it in the chat? Let's see. Put it in the chat. Yeah, I don't see it in the chat. Let's see. I have this stream bot on here. I'm hoping that's not affecting things here. But I don't see that it like removed it or anything like that. What you can try too is instead of the full link, put the like how it's like the LinkedIn slash whatever. Just put that part after the that initial slash, and then I can pull it up that way. I'm trying to look at this dashboard for the bot here and see, but I don't see that it removed it in here, so that's weird. Yeah, okay, I see that, so I can deal with that. That'll make it easier. All right, let's see. Okay, let's do that. Let me rearrange some of these windows here, and then I can bring it up on the screen. I'm not sponsored by Monster, but I do like Monster a lot. So Monster, if you are watching, feel free to reach out. Okay, let's switch. That should work. Okay, cool. This is yours, right? Okay, cool. All right, so let's look at this here. So, let's see, you're in New Zealand. Okay, cool. Let's see here. Let's kind of read through this here. So currently at 0 in the security risk team, graduated with a bachelor's degree majoring in cybersecurity. Okay, cool. So first of all, starting out in this kind of about section here, I like that you have this sporting section, kind of gives some insight about who you are just outside of work. and especially with sports, a lot of people can relate to sports, so that's awesome. Um, I, I probably would strengthen this up a little bit, just as far as what you're trying to do, right? Kind of your objective or your mission statement kind of deal. So, I mean, I like that you have the certified with that, and then you're pursuing the CISP exam. But I mean, really, just yeah, strengthen that up as far as what you want to do, like where you want to go. Because like this first part, I mean, that stuff is going to be in the bottom part, right? You're going to have right here, like you have 0, and I'm guessing your degree is right somewhere in here. Yeah. So I mean, it's kind of just repeating it. They're going to see that part, when they go down. So you really want to just make this kind of like your elevator pitch, right? Like 30 seconds. Like, who are you? That way, if somebody's just reading it, then they can be like, okay, this person, has a lot of experience in GRC. They've done this, like these high level bullet point kind of things. Just and where you're looking to go. So think about it in that sense when you're writing it, and I think that will strengthen it up a whole bunch. Let's keep looking through here. So 2 years, 4 months, awesome. So yeah, I mean, you've got a lot of experience. Looks like a couple internships here with the same company too, which is awesome. I mean, that just shows that you've been with that company for a while, and especially when you go to look for your next job, if you look outside of your company, then that's going to look really good because it's shown that you were with that team for a while, and you were an intern, and then you got hired on. So that's always a good thing. Football stadium reporter, sales agent. Yeah, I mean, also too, like, let's see, probably for sure this one. Like, I know, like, especially when you are first starting out, it's hard because you don't have as much experience to put on there. But like this one, you probably can take off. It's not really relevant to where you're going to go, because eventually, basically, what's going to happen is all of these bottom ones are going to drop off because I mean, you're already at 2 years and 4 months. These are really becoming less relevant, anyways, honestly. And when a company says they want, a couple years experience, whatever, they're talking about security. So they really want to see this part, this security part. They're not as concerned about this other stuff. If you didn't have that, then yeah, because then it shows, you have work experience past that. But now, I mean, honestly, even now, you have a couple years of experience. So, you really want to start focusing on the security aspect, because that's what they're going to be concerned with when they look at your resume or your LinkedIn or whatever. They're not going to, I mean, they're not going to really care that you were, a reporter or grocery assistant, right? Like, it's not relevant to the job. Let's see here. Okay, awesome. Bachelor's degree. Okay. On this too, if you're going to leave that in there, then I would strengthen that up. Honestly, at this point, though, it's pretty far off from now, anyways. So, again, it's kind of the same thing with these earlier on jobs. It's just not as relevant anymore because people change, especially since 2016. I mean, that's 4 or 5 years ago, right? Um, so honestly, you probably could just get rid of that. It's it's not really relevant, honestly. But if you're gonna leave it there, then I would strengthen it up. So, but since it's so long ago, it's probably not going to be that relevant, anyways. Um, okay, you got your certification. Now, I do have a question too on these two, this Mount Aspiring College and I don't even know, Rathlee College. Not sure if that's how you say it, but what I guess what are these? Are these the only reason why I'm asking is because to me, if I saw this and I saw your bachelor's degree, whoops, saw your bachelor's degree, and immediately saw that certification, that probably just it gets to the point quicker. Um, because on these, I'm not sure if they're okay, both high school. Yeah. Um, yeah, I mean, it probably would look better if you just had your degree and then your certification because this could be like, okay, his bachelor's degree, he has a certification, cool. Um, they could get lost in these other two. Again, it's kind of eliminating some of that stuff that isn't really relevant. Like it's life experiences, things that happen, but it's just not relevant. Let's see here, what else? Courses, AWS Technical Essentials, developing on AWS. Let's see here. Now, on these, are these, if those courses are through somebody, then I would put who they're through. Be careful with putting courses on there because it can get excessive, right? Like, you don't want to go to Udemy and take 10 courses and then put all 10 courses on here because it's too much. You want it to be very like bam, 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 very easy to get through and get your point across. Let's see here. You got a lot of stuff on here, but that's great. Project. Yeah, I mean, definitely it's great when you have a project or something that you can put on there. If there's a link to anything that you can put that shows it, then that's really good too. Let's see here. Yeah, again, it's same kind of stuff down here. I mean, remember, this is a professional page, so you want it to be as direct to what you're trying to do as possible. So, like all this stuff, I mean, this is all from 2015 and before, and like you said, this was high school stuff, I think. So, it's just it's not really relevant anymore, honestly. Um, and it makes this longer too. So they're probably not even gonna get down to this point anyways. But I think you can go ahead and drop this stuff off too. You really want to make it very targeted towards what you're trying to do. A couple languages, cool. And languages would be cool if you had them right next to this license and certification section. 'Cause that could come in handy depending on what kind of jobs you're going for. And that's it. Just a bunch of groups. Okay. Yeah, so I would just say tighten it up, make it very specific, get rid of a bunch of that old stuff. It just you don't need a lot of that older stuff. Just get rid of it. All right, let's see here. Also, too, if you guys look at the below the video, I do have the merch store on there now. It's linked up, so you can actually get some of the merchandise. And I have like the mugs, cases, shirts, sweatshirts, a lot of different apparel and stuff. And I'm gonna start adding some more designs and thinking of some more stuff to put in there as well. So definitely check those out. Let's go back to the comments here and see what else we got. Let's see here. Okay. Good one. Okay. Would you recommend paying for a course that claims that they will provide job placement after completion of study cybersecurity analyst courses on your own? So, with boot camps and courses like that, I mean, if there's proof that there's job placement, then that's one thing. A lot of times people will make claims that are not necessarily true. So it really just kind of depends. And yeah, I mean, it's hard to justify really expensive courses when you're very early on because a lot of times what you need, anyways, is the very basic foundational information. And a lot of that stuff you can self study. Now, that does come with a caveat because sometimes you don't necessarily have the discipline to study by yourself or on your own when you first start out. And that can be a challenge too, kind of a personal, individual, case by case thing. But I wouldn't rack up a bunch of debt with boot camps like that early on. A degree is a completely different discussion, but as far as boot camps and courses like that, I would be very careful with ones that are pretty expensive. Some of those can be very, very expensive. So just kind of be careful because a lot of those entry level certifications are meant to study on your own. And there's a lot of resources too, like Udemy and TBT Nuggets and Cyberary and all these different resources that you can use. All right, let's see here. Cybersecurity does rock. All right, let's see here. Hey Josh, how's it going? Welcome to the stream. Yeah, Christian, you bet. No worries. No worries, Myers. You're welcome. You're welcome. Let's see here. Up here. See. So, like I was saying earlier with the streams and the YouTube membership program, I am going to start doing some more streams for those. So, if you think about joining or you want to join those, um, the nice thing with that is that as this community continues to grow, all my subscriber base continues to grow. Um, these normal streams, they're obviously going to get crazy. So, if I hit that 100K mark this year and get that button, that play button, then things are going to get crazy. But the membership program is always going to be less populated, so there would be more time, more exclusive kind of attention to do things like LinkedIn resume reviews and things like that. But since you guys are here early, there's definitely a lot of time to be able to do that. Um, one thing too is that if you do want individual like feedback, question and answer kind of things, mock interviews, anything like that, I am starting to offer kind of career coaching sessions. If you go to my website, you can sign up on there. See a little button right in the corner to sign up for that. But we can hop on a Zoom call and have a discussion. Go through your resume, your actual resume, not just your LinkedIn profile. But we can go a little bit more in depth. So sometimes it helps to just have that one-on-one communication. But definitely another option. Like I said before, I mean, I'm trying to offer a whole bunch of different stuff that fits everybody's needs, so that we can, we can do this together, right? I want you guys to succeed because that just helps everybody, right? We need a lot of people in cybersecurity, so the more help that we can do, the better. But also too, yeah, on Discord, make sure that you check out Discord. If you're not on there already, there is a link in the description. So let's see here. But check out the Discord server. Starting to get that growing as well. Want to make that more interactive and just really in general, all the different stuff, the streams and the channel, the comments, just making everything more interactive. So here. So just having trouble passing the technical network troubleshooting portion of job interviews. So I'm assuming that you're probably relatively early in your career. So with the technical portion of interviews, especially early on, they tend to be a lot of okay, yeah, cybersecurity analysts. They tend to be a lot of trivia kind of questions. So, what tool would you use for this? Sometimes, what port is this? What port does HTTP use? Whatever, right? And so, knowing a lot of that kind of basic trivia kind of questions or trivia facts right off the top of your head is extremely important. What you have on your resume is extremely important as well because sometimes that will decide what questions are asked. If you have Burp Suite on your resume, you might get asked questions about Burp Suite because that gives them information as far as where they can pick, right? Where they can investigate how much you actually know. And really, it's just a matter of knowing that stuff kind of off the top of your head if you can. I mean, the more you continue to learn, the better, and the more you can talk about the things, it just helps out. Um, with that being said, the more interviews you go through, the better you're going to get at it, right? You're going to get asked a lot of the same questions or similar questions the more interviews you do. There's only so many questions that can be asked. And honestly, a lot of people are pulling from similar pools of questions. So you might get asked the same question in multiple interviews with different people, especially if it's in the same company and you have to go through multiple interviews or multiple levels. There's a decent chance you're going to probably get asked some of the same questions because usually what happens is they get a list of different questions and they're like, okay, I want to ask this question, this question, and this question. And like they don't talk between each other. So you might get the same question. So even in that situation, if you got it wrong in the first interview and you knew you got it wrong, let's go research it, and then you might get it again and you'll nail it, right? Um, but yeah, I mean, really just being on top of that trivia information is really important. Um, and then on top of that, when just like I was saying, if you get a question wrong or you don't know a question, always write down those questions, go back, look them up because you'll find those answers and you'll probably find more answers too. Um, and just continuing to learn and build your skills. I mean that will help you a lot. I know in interviews that I've been at when I've been asked questions that I don't know, I'll go back and look at them. I'll look them up and say, what was the answer to that? Why did I get it wrong? What was I thinking? Right? So just go ahead and keep learning, keep progressing, learn from your successes and failures. Let's see here. Mastermind. We are just going through questions right now. Had a LinkedIn review earlier from one of the viewers, and if other people want theirs reviewed as well, that's cool too. Let's see here. Throw that up there. So I was thinking about doing a home lab for cybersecurity stuff. Do you have one? Would recommend one. So yes, you definitely want to have a home lab because you're going to want to try things out. You're going to want to learn things. There's a couple different ways you can do it. You can, so it depends on your budget, right? Because you can get a single computer and load it up with VMs and just do it all in there. You can get another computer. So, for instance, off of like eBay, you can get some of the old, like I have an old Dell tower, and it's stacked with RAM. It has like 72 gigs of RAM, and I just load up VMs on that, and then I can just remote into that, so I don't take resources from my main computer, and I just connect into that other computer. You could also do something like AWS or Azure, one of the cloud services, and host up there. Um, that that may or may not be a good idea. The downside of that is, especially when you're starting out, I would hate for you to do that and then, um, not shut it down right or not delete your instance right, and just end up with a huge bill. That's kind of a scary thing with cloud because you wouldn't be the first person to do it. A lot of people have done that, and especially at first, it's almost safer to not do that. Um, but it kind of just depends. Also, too, if you do it on your own hardware, then you have ultimate freedom. You don't have to worry about any rules or anything like that. You can just do it on your computer. Um, but I did make a video on the best computer for cybersecurity, and I would check that out because that will help you out. That will give you some recommendations. But one of the biggest things is make sure you have enough RAM because don't have anything less than 16 gigabytes of RAM if you can avoid it. Because if you have, let's say, 8, then you're going to maybe run one virtual machine and then that'll be like basically it. Because if you run more, it'll start eating up all the resources. Um, so get at least 16 gigabytes so you can run a couple of virtual machines at once. But yeah, check that video out on the best computers for cybersecurity. Well, it depends. Let's see here. Intrusion analysis. Is that CEH versus CISP? Next, currently a cybersec SME. Diploma, master cybersec. So, well, okay, so you can go a few different ways. I mean, it depends on what you want to do, really. Not necessarily the certification, but what do you want to do? Because if you want to go to management, get the CISP. Is that? Yeah, I mean, so the technical certifications are great because, especially if you're going to keep going that path or you don't want to go into management at least for a while or like a lead position for a while, then continuing to build your technical skill set is good. The CISP isn't going to be like a deal breaker from a technical position standpoint because they're going to want those very good technical skills, and it's not really going to make that much of a difference. When it starts making a difference is when you start going to those lead or senior or manager levels, that they start kind of shifting what they're looking for, and those technical certifications kind of become a little bit less important. So if you want to still stay at the technical side and keep going technical certifications, don't worry as much about the CISP. You can kind of put it on the back burner for at least a couple of years. It's not going to be that big of a deal. Or if you end up, you get technical certification and then you want to break, you can go ahead and get the CISP. Oh, the incident handler one. Oh, the GCIH. Yeah. Yeah. So I have that one. It's really cool. it's a very, very popular course. Um, and it would be a great entry level certification to learning about hacking, about ethical hacking and penetration testing. Um, yeah, it would be a good segue into going for something like the ECPPT or the OSCP. Um, it's it's a lot of fun. I mean, it's definitely been one of the more fun classes that I've had from a certification standpoint. So you learn a lot. It's there's also the the final part is a CTF, capture the flag, and I did it in person in the class. So we broke up into teams. It was like a team of 4 or 5, I think, and it was capture the flag. So you had a couple boxes that you had to get into and find different things, and then the winners got a challenge coin. So it was a lot of fun. It was a cool course. Yeah, Myers, no worries, no worries. You're welcome. Let's see here. So immersive labs. I'm not sure what that is. Let me Google that. Yeah, I'm not sure what that is. Um, hmm. I mean, it sounds interesting. Yeah, I'm not sure what that is. I'm not sure if anybody else in here knows what it is. Um, but there, I mean, there's a lot of different platforms out there that are good for training, especially when it comes to ethical hacking. The ethical hacking platforms seem to be much more readily available than the blue team stuff. So, which is interesting, um, but it just doesn't seem like there's as much, you know, platforms for that. It seems like the hacker community is much more about, you know, doing capture the flags and breaking into systems while they practice, and then the blue team side is much more about certifications and going that path. So yeah, I don't know. It sounds interesting, but yeah, unfortunately, I do not know anything about that. Yeah, you bet. No worries. No worries. Um, let me know which one you end up going for, um, and how it works out for you. If you go for the GCIH, let me know. Let me know if you enjoyed it or how that course went. All right, let's do this up here. After Security Plus, what security cert do you recommend if the goal is to be a pen tester? Thanks for the live session. Yeah, no worries. So let's see here. So you want to be a penetration tester. I mean, the ultimate certification, or certifications that you want would be like the ECPPT from eLearn Security and the OSCP. The OSCP is kind of that big hitter, heavy hitter certification, but that's kind of the one to work towards. Um, it is challenging. It's not easy, um, but kind of a really good path for the penetration testing certifications would be, if you start out with like the EJPT, which is eLearn Security's Junior Penetration Tester. that one does a good job of kind of getting you that initial learning, initial knowledge. And the final exam was a penetration test. I took it last year, and it basically culminated with I think it was 20 questions, 20 multiple choice questions. So you had to do certain things to boxes and then answer questions based on what you found. And so that's a really good one to start out with. Um, and then the ECPPT would be a really good next step. And then the OSCP after that. The reason why I say that is because OSCP traditionally has been very much about you doing a bunch of research. So they teach you kind of the basics, and then they're like, all right, go, and you'll have to learn a bunch. And they keep saying try harder, right? Um, Whereas e-learn security, so the EJPT and the ECPPT, those have more hand holding with them. So they will teach you more, and they will actually be focused on the well-roundedness of a penetration tester. Whereas the OSCP is much more kind of capture the flag style. So it's, you get certain boxes, and I know they've changed it a little bit where now they have some, I believe they have some Active Directory stuff in there and a little bit more relevant stuff, but it's still, basically capture the flag. So you're going to hack into boxes that generally aren't going to be related, right? They're not going to be, they're not generally going to be related systems. So it's kind of a siloed system that you're hacking into each time. Which is, I mean, that's good from a standpoint of learning how to break into a single system. But then you lose some of that pivoting information. Whereas on the ECPPT, they do focus more on that, on the ability to pivot between different systems and networks and things like that. So it's just kind of a difference in the certifications. We'll see how much more aligned they get because the ECPPT, they had Active Directory stuff for a while, and and just last year, the OSCP updated to have that. OSCP has been around for a while, so yeah. All right, so if you guys are just joining, make sure that you subscribe, hit the bell icon, do all the stuff that you're supposed to do so you don't miss future content. And then you can see all the videos that are coming out. Manuel, you're welcome. Let's see here. Also, too, for everybody that might have just joined or joined recently, check out the YouTube membership program. There's a button right below the video that says join. You can click that, or you can go to the link on the screen and check out those different membership levels. There is going to be some more exclusive content and live streaming and things like that. They're going to go to that membership program. So check that out as we grow. Let's see here. Let's do some more questions. We got a little bit more time, and then I take these last couple questions and then go ahead and wrap up after this. We're a little bit over an hour stream. So that's pretty good. Let's see here. Love your videos. Help me through security course. Hey, you're welcome. You're welcome, Dennis. No problem. I'm here to help. So more content that I can make to help everybody out, more courses I can make, the better for everybody. So that was the whole purpose of creating all this stuff, was to help people, answer questions, basically to help you as you go through the path that I've already walked. So yeah, definitely. interesting question. You think about people who are core into cybersecurity and quit social media to protect their identity. I mean, I, is that the reason why people quit social media? Maybe. I mean, sometimes there's other reasons. Um, honestly, on social media, it can be a lot to deal with. Um, it's it's not only just like the identity part, but it's like also the advertisements and just all the things that go along with it. Your data gets sold off by a lot of these companies, and depending on the platform, right? And that's why you got to read the user agreement, right? But it, social media is part of society today, so it's kind of just one of those things. And from a professional perspective, you know, the more that you can expand your network and meet more people and just have more of a presence, it helps a lot. Um, like with YouTube, it's like people know who I am. Um, the community is starting to grow. Just the work and the especially the soft skills, the evidence of being able to communicate, things like that. It just it's very helpful. If you're trying to get into cybersecurity, having like a blog or making videos about what you're learning about, that's huge. Like it's very helpful because if you can make it to where you have things that you can show employers, then it just makes you look so much better. Um, Part of the struggle when you're trying to get into the field is if you don't have experience, how do you show that you know what you're talking about, right? If you don't have a blog or a website or something like that, GitHub, whatever, if you don't have any of that, then all I have to do or all I have to go on is your resume. That can be tough because it's very hard to communicate certain things through just a resume. So it helps to have a presence. That's why you see a lot of high profile people in all industries that are on social media because it's just one of those things. It's like in today's society, you should be trying to get your name out there. So it does nothing but help. All right, don't know how to start. So I have got a treat for you on getting started. So you will want to check out that link that I just put in the chat. That's to my getting started page. And that will have a bunch of resources to get you going. I created that because, believe it or not, I get that question a lot. That's why I created the ebook that I have on there that you can get for free. Go to that page, you can sign up for it. Um, but all the other resources as well. So check that out. There's a lot of good content to get a bunch of your initial answers, your questions. All right. Come up to in real life. Yeah. So cybersecurity, full time employee. Um, but started doing all the YouTube and all this other stuff. It's kind of a way to build my online presence. Um, of course, I do have courses out there that people can get. So essentially, this is like a side thing, just to help people out and really just help people learn, help people get into the industry. So I do want to start kind of doing some side consulting, things like that as time permits. But right now, just a lot going on. A binary. Right, all the way from India. Awesome. Couple more questions here. All right, what certifications recommend for security cloud? So it depends. If somebody's working right now in a company that uses a specific cloud vendor, so Microsoft or Amazon, then I recommend going that route. Each one has its own security certifications, but if and I basically basically just go for the one that your employer has. If you have to choose, yeah, it depends. if you ha- if you have to choose a specific one, then I personally would choose Amazon. I started looking into the AWS certified cloud practitioner just to get an initial certification for cloud because I don't currently have any. Um, but I mean, AWS has the majority of the share of the market, so that's why I chose that. Um, but and also too, A Cloud Guru is an awesome website. So I started using them to do some studying, and you can get full sandboxes and everything, so you can do all these labs and stuff on their platform. So it's awesome. But definitely just if you're not working for somebody, pick a vendor. It doesn't matter if you go with Amazon or Microsoft, but I would stick to one of those two. I probably wouldn't go with Google unless your company is using that, um, because you're more likely to run in the other two into the other two. Um, but typically with Microsoft it's a lot of the infrastructure stuff, and with Amazon it's a lot more DevOps kind of environments. But there's a lot of stuff that you can do with both. But just start out on their path. They have the learning paths that you can do get going. Um, the Amazon one seems more kind of structured, like we would see with like a Cisco, where it's the certified cloud practitioner and then the solutions associate or whatever. Um, whereas with Microsoft, there's like a security engineer, security associate certifications. So, but yeah, just pick one and go. I mean, either one of those, and you know, you'll be doing good. Um, Hands are, yeah, just pick one of those cloud certifications and just start running for it. And we'll start kind of going through here a little bit quicker because I'm gonna get ready to end this stream here in a minute. Let's see here. Worth putting Udemy certification on LinkedIn profile? Probably not. I mean, you could, especially if you don't have a lot to put on there. It just kind of it adds to it, but um, yeah. So, all right. Well, looks like one of my batteries is about to die on my camera. So before it ends, I'm gonna go ahead and end this stream. Thank you all for joining, and make sure you subscribe, hit the bell icon so you don't miss future content like this stream, and we will go ahead and we'll keep doing more of these streams, and there's a lot more videos to come. So I appreciate everybody for joining me here, and until next time, I will see you later.